Have you noticed how, after a loss, even ordinary moments begin to feel strangely heavier than they used to? You open your phone and see a message. It's neutral, short, nothing unusual, but your chest tightens anyway. Someone at work speaks normally, yet their tone feels distant. A casual joke lands wrong. A pause feels intentional. You tell yourself, I'm probably overthinking. But the feeling doesn't leave. This is how grief often enters daily life, not as dramatic sadness, but as a subtle shift in how everything is perceived. A cup of tea tastes the same, yet brings no comfort. A familiar road feels unfamiliar. Time itself feels slower. And this creates a quiet worry. Why am I seeing everything this way? Why can't I think clearly anymore? We often assume grief is only about pain, but grief also reshapes perception. Not incorrectly, just differently. Imagine losing someone important, or losing a version of your life you were attached to. Outwardly, nothing collapses. You still go to work. You still answer messages. You still function. But inwardly, something has narrowed. Your attention keeps returning to what's missing. Your mind keeps replaying what cannot be changed. This isn't weakness. It's focus redirected by loss. In grief, the mind doesn't stop seeing. It sees through absence. That's why small things feel larger, why silence feels louder, why uncertainty feels threatening. We often criticize ourselves during this time. I shouldn't be this sensitive. Others have gone through worse. I need to think rationally. But grief is not irrational thinking. It is emotional gravity. In the Geeta, Arjuna stands in a moment like this. What troubles him isn't confusion alone, it's sorrow narrowing his vision. He suddenly sees consequences everywhere, loss in every direction, meaning slipping away. What's important is this. Krishna does not tell him that his perception is false. He doesn't dismiss sorrow as distortion. He allows the state to exist, as if recognizing that sorrow alters the lens, but does not destroy the ability to see. We encounter this in ordinary situations too. Someone grieving may misread a delayed reply as rejection. They may interpret neutrality as indifference. They may feel excluded even when no exclusion was intended. Others may say, you're imagining things. You're not thinking clearly. But grief doesn't invent pain. It highlights vulnerability. The person isn't wrong, they're simply seeing from a place that is tender. Even decisions feel different during grief. Things that once felt manageable now feel overwhelming. Choices feel loaded with consequence. The future feels less accessible. This doesn't mean clarity is gone. It means clarity is filtered through loss. And that filter matters. Grief teaches truths that comfort often hides. How much we depended on something. How deeply something shaped us. How little control we actually had. These realizations are uncomfortable, so we label them as distortion. But sometimes grief is not clouding truth. It is revealing it without cushioning. At the same time, grief does narrow perspective. It can shrink the horizon. It can exaggerate permanence. It can make pain feel endless. This is why forcing objectivity too early often fails. Trying to be positive or move on can feel like erasing what mattered. The mind resists clarity that demands forgetting. Instead, clarity slowly returns on its own terms, not by removing grief, but by widening around it. You might notice this quietly. One day, a memory arises and doesn't overwhelm the moment. One day, laughter doesn't feel like betrayal. One day, you still feel the loss, but it no longer defines everything you see. This is not healing as an event. It's perception regaining width. Grief doesn't leave because you solved it. It softens because awareness grows larger than the pain. The Geeta doesn't tell us to eliminate sorrow to see clearly. It suggests something more subtle. That awareness itself remains steady even when emotions move heavily through it. You are not blind during grief. You are seeing from a wound, and wounds have their own honesty. Sometimes the clearest seeing is not free of sorrow. It is simply aware that sorrow is shaping the view. And when that awareness stays present, without judgment, without urgency, the mind slowly learns to see again, not as it was before, but with depth that only grief could carve.